Okay, so today,
We're going deep
Right.
dive. Yeah, deep dive
Here we go.
into some seriously strange territory.
Yeah.
The kind of stuff that makes you kind of go, what is going on?
Yep.
You know, like what is life, the universe, and everything?
Exactly.
So the questions.
Yeah, the big question. We were
Yeah.
talking about, you guys shared a forum post with us,
Yes,
and it's a doozy.
it is a doozy.
It's from someone claiming to be a molecular biologist.
Okay, so sciencey background already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sciencey background, and they are spilling the tea. They're blowing the whistle.
Whistleblower, huh?
Yeah, on a top secret program
Ooh.
that was studying what they call EBOs, exobiospheric organisms.
Exobiospheric organisms. So not from around here,
Not from around here.
not from Earth. Potentially.
Potentially not from Earth.
Yeah.
And that's our puzzle for today, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we looking at...
That's the big question.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're talking about this alleged whistleblower, somebody who claims to have worked on this program for years, right?
Okay.
Driven by this, like, conviction, right? That the public has a right to know.
Okay, classic whistleblower, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know...
Got to get the info out there.
Got to get the info out there.
Yeah.
But here's the catch.
Okay.
They're very vague about their identity.
Oh.
Like, almost like they're giving us breadcrumbs but leading us in circles.
Interesting.
So it makes me wonder, like, if they're so concerned about secrecy,
Right.
why even come forward at all? It's a good question, right? It's this fascinating contradiction, and I think it kind of speaks to the magnitude of what they're claiming they witnessed, right?
Yeah.
Because, see, hidden beneath this seemingly ordinary, you know, biomedical research facility, we're talking Fort Detrick, Maryland, by the way,
Okay.
lies the secret. This restricted area where these EBOs were allegedly studied.
Wait, hold on. So we're talking like Men in Black headquarters, but just hidden in plain sight?
Exactly.
It's kind of creepy.
Yeah. It's like...
Give me the chills.
Yeah, that's like the juxtaposition of the ordinary and the extraordinary.
Yeah, totally.
And it gets even weirder, right? Because the report actually describes them as being humanoid,
Okay.
but with some really big differences.
Oh,
Like, for instance, their gray skin. It's not actually skin. It's like this biosynthetic film.
what?
Yeah, and their eyes. And they have large eyes, by the way, which suggests maybe night vision capabilities, but they're also covered by this film.
It's like they were designed for darkness, but then somebody was like, wait a minute.
Right, like an afterthought, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh, they might need to see in the light sometimes.
Right, and don't even get me started on their diet.
Oh, the diet, yeah.
It's like, what is it?
It's bizarre.
It's like this liquid concoction. It's like they can't just like have a burger.
No, it's all very specifically formulated, right?
Yeah.
It's almost like, and this is what I find really fascinating about this detail, is that it implies a dependence,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
That they're reliant on some advanced technology to even survive, potentially even external support.
Right.
This isn't just like, you know,
They're not just interstellar tourists.
Exactly. It's not just like, hey, we're here to check out the sites.
Right.
They're tethered potentially to something or someone else.
So they're like assigned diplomats with very particular
Right.
dietary restrictions.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And, you know, if we connect this to, like, what we know about their genetics or what's in the report,
Okay.
it gets even more bizarre.
Okay.
Because, okay, so their DNA is surprisingly familiar.
Familiar how?
So familiar that it's actually compatible with human cellular machinery.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
But there's a twist.
Always a twist.
Right. And you know what that twist is, don't you?
Is it the tripalindromic region?
The tripalindromic region, or TPR. That threw me for a loop, man.
It's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful.
And a head scratcher.
Yes, imagine discovering this, like, intricate system of genetic organization,
Okay.
right? Something we've never seen before in Earth biology,
Okay.
embedded within these beings.
Right.
It's like we stumbled onto this blueprint, but it's in a language we can't understand.
Yeah, it's like those, you know,
It's like...
ancient languages that we're just now starting to like maybe
Right, like we're starting to kind of get a grip on the edges of it.
Yeah, like maybe we can decipher it, but it's going to take some work.
Right.
And a lot of time.
Exactly.
And are we talking about like super advanced tech here?
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Because this TPR suggests advanced genetic engineering.
Okay.
Perhaps even like artificial creation, right?
Mhm.
But here's the other thing. Interwoven with this elegance, we find something else.
Okay.
These seemingly random genes from humans and animals,
Okay.
just inserted into the EBO genome.
So it's like this weird mishmash.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any, like, why?
It's a paradox. It's baffling.
Yeah, it's like if you opened up, the latest iPhone
Yeah.
and it was like state-of-the-art tech,
Right.
but then there were like parts in there that look like they came from a 1980s calculator.
Right. Like, why is that in there?
All right, what is that doing in there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't track.
It's a head scratcher.
It doesn't track.
And that question kind of lingers, right?
Yeah.
As we move into the more, I guess we would say, philosophical
Okay.
aspects of this whole report, which is this section detailing their religion.
Right, and it's not religion like we think of it, right?
Right.
No. It's not like,
It's not like a deity or anything like that.
yeah, it's not like, oh, they worship, the flying spaghetti monster or anything. It's more of like a scientific theory almost, wouldn't you say?
Right. Yeah. More like a universal truth that they've discovered.
Right.
Something like
Well,
that.
that's a wild theory.
Right. So they believe in this thing, right? This soul field.
It's a soul field.
This thing, this like force that evolves alongside life itself.
Right.
And they believe that their purpose is to nurture life, all life.
Okay.
To guide it towards this kind of grand union with the soul field.
So, okay.
Yeah.
Let me get this straight. We've got potentially engineered beings
Okay.
on a very, controlled diet.
Yes.
Running around with a mishmash of Earth genetics in them.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah.
And they believe in some kind of, cosmic soup we're all supposed to be swimming in.
Essentially, yes. A simplification, but yes.
Okay, and this is where it gets even weirder for me.
Okay.
Because the report then goes on to suggest that EBOs don't really value individuality.
Right.
The way that we
can understand it. Yeah, it's more like they're,
Yeah.
they're just instruments designed for a specific purpose.
But they're not really people.
Well, I mean, that's a loaded question, right? But it's like they're more like, I don't know, how would you put it? Like
worker bees.
worker bees, yeah, or like like the ants, right? Each one is
they're just doing their part.
doing their part for the greater good.
For the greater good.
Of whatever.
Right, and that's the question. What is the greater good? What is this soul field? We don't know.
Right. We don't know. And that's what's so unsettling about this.
Right, because if they're just tools, then what does that make us?
Yeah, that's the question.
Right.
If we are the garden, who are the gardeners?
Exactly, right.
Right. Are they benevolent or are they...
And what are they gardening us for?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, the report doesn't give us any answers.
No, unfortunately not. It just gives us these really wild possibilities to consider.
It's a lot to unpack.
It is.
It's a lot to unpack. And we're going to need a bigger suitcase, I think. Yeah, we're going to need more.
More, yeah.
One deep dive to get through all of this.
Right, exactly. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to keep going down this rabbit hole.
Down the rabbit hole we go.
Okay, so we're back, and my brain's still doing backflips trying to, process all of this EBO stuff.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It really is. And you know what really gets me? It's those borrowed genes. Those random bits of human and animal DNA just kind of thrown in there. Why even bother if they're just cosmic gardeners or whatever?
Right. You'd think if they're so advanced, they'd be a little more, elegant about it. And that's what makes those borrowed genes so fascinating. It's like, why? Why include them if they don't serve some bigger purpose?
Exactly. It's like they're following a recipe but maybe skimmed a few pages. If the whole point is to guide us toward that apotheosis thing, that merging with the soul field, wouldn't they need to actually understand the life they're influencing?
Okay, so imagine this. You're a software developer, right? And you're trying to create this incredibly complex program. What do? You test things out, you experiment, you might even borrow bits of code from other sources to see what works.
So you're saying these borrowed genes, it's like they're running experiments on us?
It's a possibility. Maybe they're trying to figure out how we tick, how our biology interacts with their technology, with the soul field. Who knows?
Okay, so less about fixing us and more about understanding us, maybe even nudging our evolution in a certain direction.
It's not outside the realm of possibility, right?
Not outside the realm of possibility. That's one way to put it. It's a little unnerving, to be honest.
Unnerving, sure, but also potentially incredible. Think about it. What if they're trying to help us avoid the same pitfalls, the same evolutionary dead ends that other civilizations might have faced?
Okay, that's a much more optimistic spin than I was going for. But even if that's true, it still raises some big questions about free will and all that. If we're being subtly influenced, where does our choice come in?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And unfortunately, this report doesn't offer any easy answers.
No, it really doesn't. It's like it just throws all this crazy stuff at us and then just leaves us hanging.
It's like a cosmic riddle wrapped in an enigma, dipped in a vat of liquid nutrients.
Speaking of those liquid nutrients, can we talk about that for a second? It's like they're driving a Ferrari but can only fill it up with, like, kale smoothies.
It's such a strange detail, right?
Oh,
And it
yeah.
really highlights how dependent they are on this advanced technology.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got potentially engineered beings on a very specific diet, running around with borrowed genes, and they may or may not be subtly influencing our evolution. Did I miss anything?
I think you covered the highlights.
And to think, this all started with a single forum post. Someone claiming to have worked in a secret lab studying these EBOs.
A voice whispering from the shadows.
Yeah.
And yet, look where it's led us.
Down a rabbit hole of cosmic proportions.
A rabbit hole filled with more questions than answers.
Yeah.
But sometimes the questions are just as important, wouldn't you say?
I guess so. But right now, I'm honestly not sure what's more unsettling, the idea that these EBOs are out there, or the fact that we might never know the full truth about them.
That's the nature of the unknown, isn't it? It both terrifies and fascinates us.
Well, one thing's for sure, this deep dive isn't over yet. We're about to take this conversation to a whole new level.
Oh, and what level would that be?
We're about to dive into the EBO brain, and let me tell you, it's a doozy.
Oh, I bet it is. I can't wait.
All right, so we're back, and I thought we were deep before, but this is like the Mariana Trench of weirdness.
I know, right? Just when you think you've got a handle on things, bam! The report throws another curveball.
Yeah, like we're talking about the EBO brain, and specifically there are these things on the central lobe. They're calling them nodules.
Nodules, yeah, and they describe them as intricate biological circuitry.
Okay, hold up. Biological circuitry. That sounds less like biology and more like, I don't know, alien tech support. What are we even talking about here?
Right, it's like, imagine a biological system that can directly interface with advanced technology.
Wait, are you saying these EBOs have, like, a built-in USB port or something? Like they're hardwired for tech in a way we can't even fathom?
It's a possibility that the report, kind of hints.
And when you consider everything else, I mean, the liquid diet, that
Right.
weird biosynthetic skin, the whole genetic jigsaw puzzle.
It's like every detail points to a level of sophistication that makes our current tech look like, those old brick phones.
Oh, totally. Like we're running on dial-up and they're quantum computing or something.
Exactly, and this is where it gets really interesting. What if these brain nodules are the key to it all? What if that's how they interact with their tech with each other? Maybe even with the soul field.
Whoa, okay, so are we talking about telepathy here, like a hive mind situation? Are we about to go full Borg collective on this?
Well, the report stays frustratingly vague on the specifics, but the implications are huge. Imagine a society that doesn't communicate through speech as we know it, but through a shared network of thoughts and sensations.
That's wild. And a little creepy, not gonna lie. But also, like, think about it. If they can interface with technology in this way, what else can they do? What if they're interacting with the world around us on a level we can't even perceive?
Right, what if those unexplained phenomena we hear about, those glitches in the matrix, it's not aliens, it's EBOs messing with the fabric of reality?
Okay, now that's just freaky. So you're saying we could be living in a world shaped by these beings and we'd never even know it?
It's a possibility, isn't it? And I think that's the most mind-blowing takeaway from all of this.
We started with this single forum post, this anonymous tip, and it's led us to question, like, the very nature of reality.
It really makes you realize how much we don't know.
For sure. And it makes you think, what else is out there? What other mysteries are we missing because we're so focused on our own little corner of the universe?
That's the beauty of a deep dive like this, though, right? It forces us to confront the unknown, to push the boundaries of our understanding.
To expand our perspectives, even if it gets a little weird sometimes.
Absolutely. And I think, for me at least, it reinforces this sense of wonder. This universe is a vast, mysterious place, and we're just starting to scratch the surface of what's possible.
I like that. It's not about being scared or even finding all the answers. It's about embracing the mystery, the unknown, and maybe, just maybe, realizing that we're not alone in the universe.
Maybe not. And hey, if those EBOs ever want to, beam down and have a chat, we're here for it.
We'll even order takeout, whatever they want, kale smoothies, the works.
There you go. Now you're getting it. Until then, folks, keep those forum posts coming, keep those questions flowing, and most importantly, keep looking up at the stars. Who knows what we might find?
And on that note, we're signing off for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time.